Hey guys, I'm here to give you a little demo of the Steadycam I made for my GoPro. I made this for not very much money. I don't actually know exactly how much, but I made it out of PVC parts, and I'll go ahead and explain all the parts and give you a little summary of how I made them. So here we go. So here's the Steadycam, the whole thing. We have the top part, we have the handle with the gimbal assembly, and we have the weights at the bottom. Up top, we have the normal base plate that comes with the GoPro. I flipped it over and I put some Velcro on the bottom so I can stick it to anything I want. We got the Velcro on the other side. There's a little hole here so you can have the hardware sit tight in there. See, it sits nice and flush. Take the base plate and Velcro it on there nicely, and it stays pretty good. On the bottom side, this piece of wood is just sandwiched in there with this nut, and there's another nut on the other side. This is the most complicated piece, called the gimbal. It's made of 3 concentric rings. This is actually a skateboard bearing. There's actually 2 of them in there. These are Bones Reds bearings. And I put this PVC pipe that was about, I want to say 3/4 of an inch. I cut a little sliver, a little chunk, and I put 2 of them in the oven at about 400 degrees for 5 to 10 minutes until they got nice and soft. I took them out and I jammed them over on top of the bearings that I had sitting on the counter, and it burnt the hell out of my hand, but it worked pretty good. So now I have a nice smooth bearing assembly in there. The outer ring is connected to the inside ring by these 2 points, which allow it to rotate on this axis, and the middle ring to the outer ring is connected from this point and this point, which allows it to move on this axis. So basically this thing, I can rotate this whole assembly, and it moves with very, very little friction. I mean, there's a little bit. It's not perfect. It's not a $200 Steadicam or whatever the smoothies cost now, but it works rather well. And this is used to minimize the movement from your hand and body that moves into the rig. This handle assembly, this is just a pipe holder that I bent right here, and on the other side, bolted in there. In here is actually a threaded rod that runs the length of this section of PVC. This is the original size of PVC. We'll see if it says anything on there. That's what the PVC I used. And then this is sandwiched between this piece and the washer on the other end. And that holds pretty well. It's a very nice sturdy handle. I'm not worried about that breaking. As we go all the way down there, oh yeah, this is sandwiched between this nut. This is a regular nut, and this is a stop nut. Seeing a little pattern here. I like to sandwich my parts between nuts. That sounded really wrong. And then at the bottom, we got the weights. We got a bunch of washers. This is just stuff I found in my basement. Had a bunch of washers, and there's another washer, and there's another stop nut. So that sits on there. And when I can put the camera case on top of that, no problem. And then this is how it works. Put the camera up there, hold this, and weights go on the bottom. And it spins pretty nicely too. Let's see if I can get that to move. It spins pretty good because the bearing will let it go. If I put the weights further out from the center of rotation, this thing would spin almost forever. And also, there's a lot of weight. That's like 5 or 6 pounds down there. It doesn't need to be nearly that heavy at all. I'll take some of that off eventually. So here we have the snowboard unicorn mount and go pole that I made. More PVC. I really like this PVC. It works really well. I took a GoPro straight piece and put it in there. And I put another one in here up top. and drilled a hole through it, set this bolt through, and so that stays in there. That doesn't move really at all. Same with the bottom side. And then you can attach the mount, or the case up top. So you gotta screw these two parts together. Bada boom, like that. And then this is the base plate again with the Velcro on it. I put some strips of Velcro right here and right here on the snowboard. And that's actually pretty strong. I can lift up the board with that. So that stays there. I put a little piece of Velcro on here to keep it from moving around too much. It moves, but it dampens the movement a little bit. And then there you go. There's your snowboard unicorn mount. Works pretty well. Juju, what do you think? And one of the best features, I think, is that when I'm waiting in the lift lines, I can just fold this piece up and carry it by my side, and then the camera's out of the way, and nobody's gonna hassle me for it. So, problem solved. Stop snowboarding, or when I want a different angle, I take this, unscrew it, pull it out, and there we go. Now I have a goal pole. So there you have it, the goal pole and snowboard mount.